Hi, this is Perry Marshall, and I was in San Francisco not too long ago, and I was talking to one of my business customers about Evolution 2.0, and she said, I bought the book, but I just kind of got lost in it, and I didn't, she was trying to be really polite and everything, but what I kind of got from it was, I like your stuff, Perry, but this was just kind of didn't seem to have anything to do with my life. And I said to her, I said, hey, I appreciate that, and that's cool. Thank you for buying the book. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but I would like you to think about a couple of things. I said, and there was a whole room full of entrepreneurs, and I said, every single one of us has a gun to our head, and we have to evolve every day. I mean, it's not an option. It's like we have to do this. If you don't at least incrementally improve something in your business literally every day, you're falling behind. And if you fall enough steps behind, like you get caught between the wheels and you are extinct. And I said, a lot of my customers really get this book, much more than the average person. And yeah, maybe it's because they understand me a little bit, but really it's because they relate to this whole idea that evolution is always intentional, even if you don't know what the outcome is going to be, or even if you don't know what's going to work. You got to find something that's gonna work. I said, frankly, I think most entrepreneurs can relate to these cells. Okay, it's starving, it's under stress, it's gonna die if it doesn't solve this problem. So it rearranges 100,000 little pieces of DNA, reconfigures itself, and all of a sudden it can digest this nutrient that it couldn't digest before. And I said, that's the life that we all live. And I said, most things that you need to do in your business are described in this book somewhere. I said, for example, the world's greatest merger acquisition was when a cell, a plant type cell, it wasn't a plant cell at the time, but it in the future would eventually become a plant cell, ingested a blue-green algae. I guess I should probably use the blue pen for it, right? It ingested this little blue-green algae, and instead of swallowing it, it formed a cooperative relationship. So this blue-green algae becomes a chloroplast. It does photosynthesis. It turns sunlight into energy. Now the cell has an energy plant on the inside generating all this energy, and this is why every single green plant, every single blade of grass is green. It's because all those trees, all those blades of grass, they all have these blue-green algae living inside. We call them chloroplasts, but they have their own strand of DNA. It's independent of the cell. It reproduces on its own, and it's amazing. This is the most successful merger acquisition in all of history. And when you go to a Marriott hotel and there's a Starbucks in the lobby, the Starbucks inside the Marriott, it's just like the algae inside the cell. It brings something completely new to the experience, which enhances everybody. It's better for Starbucks, it's better for Marriott, it's better for the customers, and nature is so cooperative. I said, if you read this book and have it in your mind that everything this book is talking about actually does have a parallel in your regular life, and what I'm really inviting you to do is bring those two together and think interdisciplinary, to actually be able to look at a problem that's been solved in a completely different context and go, oh, I see what they're doing. Bring it into your world. And this is one of the hallmarks of great thinkers, great consultants, great thought leaders, is that no matter where you are, even if you're playing with your kids in the park, you're constantly picking up things that on the surface they have nothing to do with the subject at hand. But in reality, they have everything to do. Now, the flip side of the coin is there's a lot of narrow-minded people that absolutely will not tolerate interdisciplinary thinking. They will not let ideas from the outside come in and influence. One of my favorite professors in college, he was talking about American history, and he was talking about when the Europeans came to America and all of a sudden you have the European culture clashing with the Native American Indian culture. Of course, we know how that turned out, and there's a lot of sad things about how that turned out. But he made the point. He said, when two cultures come together, they will change each other. It is absolutely inevitable. Neither one of those cultures will be the same. And so, today, we're in the internet age, and we're in a collision of all kinds of cultures and all kinds of ideas. And, you've got crazy elections, and you have the kind of echo chamber effect of social media. And what I would like you to just notice is that, yes, there's a lot of chaos that goes on, and a lot of stuff that doesn't even make any sense at all. However, this is a natural part of the evolution of our culture and of our society. Is you're going to get a lot of friction, you're going to get a lot of heat, you're going to get a lot of conflict, and it takes a while for that conflict to resolve. One of the guys who endorsed my book, Evolution 2.0, is Kwang Zhan, and he is a retired professor at the University of Tennessee. Now, he is one of the few people that actually did this with live experiments, these symbiogenesis experiments, and not just observing, like putting two and two together and going, hey, this must have happened. Because most of those theories were formed that way. He actually did it. And you can read about it in my book. Well, when he did this experiment, when he took the little cells and the big cells and he put them in a petri dish, they fought like cats and dogs for months. And it killed most of them. But a few of them ended up forming the symbiotic merger. And once the merger was complete, you could not separate them and still have an intact alive organism. If you separate them, it killed them both. So they became truly interdependent. This is what is going on in the larger world. And I want you to see this. And as you read the book, I want you to be mindful of the conflicts that are going on everywhere around you. The world has conflict in it, baked in from the word go. And, idealistic people struggle with this and they think it's bad. Well, yeah, I get that. But you know what? Conflict creates progress. And here's the other thing. The conflict is intentional. It's not accidental. And that is the larger point of the Evolution 2.0 book, is none of this stuff happens by accident. It doesn't mean you can prove that you can predict how it's all going to turn out. But one thing's for sure is there's always something very intentional going on. So I hope this has been thought-provoking. Tell your friends about Evolution 2.0. Thanks for your time today.